Hi, my name is Veronica, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. How did that one do?
That was very good. Do just maybe one or two more, okay? Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So as the Haneys continue to pressure Gary Russell to sign the contract, apparently Floyd Mayweather is fired up about this fight because he just told Devin Haney, according to Devin Haney, Floyd told Devin to eat him alive. So it's not just the boxing fans that really wants to see this fight. Floyd, he really wants to see this fight as well. Now let me surmise everything to keep you guys up to date, for at least the people that have not been following this entire development. Gary Russell, he moved up to 135. He started calling out everyone from damn near everyone at 135 all the way to Terrence Crawford at 147. Now, something that I was just informed on is Bill Haney, who did an interview with my boy Aki today. Bill revealed that surprisingly, they were actually the first ones to inquire a fight with Gary Russell a while ago, because Bill Haney was talking to someone and he said, you know, that would be a good matchup, my son with Gary Russell. The person he said that to ended up getting that message over to Gary Russell. That's when Gary Russell, he started to include Devin Haney's name in the mix when he was calling everyone out. So from there, he starts calling out Terrence Crawford. He says that he'll take the 1.5 that Terrence Crawford offered to Kell Brook, right? This is when Devin Haney put his bid in, and he quietly sent Gary Russell an offer. Once again, it's important to note that he quietly did this. That shows that he wasn't trying to get attention. He was really trying to get Gary Russell to start a serious negotiation to make this fight come to fruition. So once again, without trying to make a whole lot of noise about this, Team Haney, they send Gary Russell the same offer that he said that he was willing to take to fight Terrence Crawford. This is when Gary Russell, he said, well, when I said I would take the 1.5, that was only to fight Terrence Crawford because it's personal with Terrence Crawford. Then after Gary Russell started to receive some criticism for turning down the same money that he was willing to take to fight Terrence Crawford, he then changed his mind and he said, you know what, I'll accept the 1.5. That's when we all thought the fight was damn near done already, because they had agreed when it comes to the money. And usually the money is the biggest roadblock in the majority of negotiations. So after I heard that Gary Russell, he accepted the 1.5, I thought it was only a matter of days before we hear this fight get announced. But to my surprise and everybody's surprise, then Gary Russell, he comes out and he says, wait a minute. I don't like this stipulation on a contract that if I beat Devin Haney, I have to fight on the zone a couple of times, right? So just to show you how bad Devin Haney wanted this fight, they removed that stipulation from the contract. And then they sent an offer to Gary Russell, just a term, for him to agree to the terms that he actually demanded, which is the $1.5 million and no strings attached. Meaning Devin Haney, if he loses to Gary Russell, Gary doesn't have to fight on the zone. So this is the term sheet that they sent over to Gary Russell. Now, I remember Gary Russell, or Devin Haney, excuse me, he did an interview where he's explaining this. He said, look, we gave this man everything he wanted. We're just waiting for him to sign the contract now. He's saying, but I don't think he wants to fight. He said, I think he's looking for a way out of the fight, et cetera, right? So I'm over here once again thinking, oh, okay, well, now Gary Russell, he got everything he asked for. Of course he's going to sign the contract now, right? Wrong. All of a sudden, after 2 days, Gary Russell Jr., he comes out and he says, I'm not signing that contract. And his reason was because he did not see Matchroom or DAZN's name on the contract. So now Devin Haney, they're basically trying to fix and adjust the contract again to try to get Gary Russell to sign it. So I'll tell you guys right now, I think this fight is actually going to happen. And the reason why I think this fight is going to happen is because Team Haney, they're making it extremely difficult for for Gary Russell to keep coming up with new stipulations to not sign the contract. They won't take no for an answer. I mean, speaking of that, Bill Haney, he actually just said today in this interview with Aki, he said, we're not going to let Gary Russell turn the fight down. I mean, just think about this for a second. You would be thinking that Gary Russell would be talking like this. As aggressive as Gary has been calling out everyone, you would think Gary Russell would be on his live stream saying, we ain't gonna allow Devin Haney to turn this fight down. You would think that Devin Haney would be taking these steps forward. You know, let me go ahead and send him an offer. Let me do this. Oh, they didn't like that? Okay, well, how about this term? How about this term? You would think that it would be Gary in this position, but it's not. It's the 21-year-old Devin Haney. So once again, with all this pressure that Haney is putting on Gary Russell, and now we find out that Floyd Mayweather is even telling Devin Haney to eat him alive, I think it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before Gary Russell is forced to sign this contract. Like I told you guys in my video a couple videos ago, I told you this will be the biggest mistake of Gary Russell's career if he turns this fight down. You got to think about it. Gary Russell has been inactive for so many years. The last big meaningful fight that Gary Russell was involved in was a fight against Jojo Diaz, which was 2 years ago. And it was a really good win against an undefeated good fighter who was much bigger than Gary Russell naturally. And the other most significant fights of Gary Russell's career was his win against Johnny Gonzalez, which was 5 years ago, and his loss to Vasyl Lomachenko, which was 6 years ago. So my point is simple. Gary Russell, he's in his early 30s, right? And we know all of the gaps that he's had in his career. So if he were to let this Devin Haney fight slip away, Devin is only, 21 years old. Devin has tons of options when it comes to getting real big wins. Gary Russell doesn't have as many options. Before he met another boogeyman, because I told you, Gary Russell, he used to be the boogeyman. I mean, he called out Gervonta Tank Davis. He called out Leo Santa Cruz, Abner Mares. Nobody wanted to fight him. But now Devin Haney wants to fight him. And something else you guys have to keep in mind. Gary Russell himself, he admitted that Devin Haney is the one that actually wants this fight. He actually went on his live on Instagram and he said, man, I give Devin Haney a lot of credit. Because while a lot of other cats didn't want to fight me, this kid at age 21 years old, he really wants to fight. So I commend him for that. So with that coming straight from the horse's mouth, it's kind of hard to sit here and say that Devin Haney really doesn't want the fight. He's just capping and et cetera, et cetera. No, because it came straight from Gary. Even Gary knows how bad Devin Haney wants this fight. And I think it's only a matter of time before this fight is official and Gary Russell officially signs the contract. Because trust me, the Haneys are not taking no for an answer. That's all I got for now, guys. But before I dip out, I want to share something with you guys that I'm actually enrolled in personally. If you guys are looking for a really reliable first or second source of income, then you got to get into trading, because that's what I'm doing right now. And the best thing about this website is they teach you how to trade. Not only do they teach you how to trade, but you can actually follow them as they're trading, and you can make the same trades they're making to guarantee the money. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and run this ad so you can see what I'm talking about. Check it out, guys.
While we live in uncertain times, one thing has never been more clear: the need to be financially independent. If you want more out of life, let us show you how to get it. People of all ages are now learning what the banks and other institutions have known for years: how to make money trading in the financial markets. There's over $6 trillion traded each day. Let us show you how to get your piece of that. Epic ushers in a new era of financial education, combined with an unprecedented compensation plan to help you and your family live the life you've always dreamed of. It's time to take your seat at the table. You and your family deserve it. Don't be average. Be epic.
Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. Basically, you will end up with a haircut shape up or an edge up. What they do is they tattoo small dots that look like hair follicles in the areas where you have lost your hair and then blend it with your existing hair. You can even choose what type of hairline you want, hard shape up or soft and natural finish. And to maintain it, all you gotta do is shave your hair every few days, which is something you already were probably doing anyway. So if you wanna get this hookup for my brothers out there in the UK and Europe, make sure you check out the Scalp This on Instagram. And for my brothers out there in the States, make sure you go ahead and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. And when you go on their pages, you can see for yourself what these guys look like before. I mean, these guys are literally hair magicians. I've never seen anything like this before, but all I can tell you guys is this is a serious game changer for us men. So make sure you get in contact with Scalp This and Scalp Carolinas on Instagram.